This is my $10 million mistake, the most expensive and difficult lesson I've ever had to learn. In 2021, I sold my Amazon FBA business for life-changing money, and suddenly I became wealthier than I ever thought possible. I finally made it, and now I could retire in my mid-30s, travel the world, and basically do whatever I wanted without any worries. But little did I know, I was about to make a big mistake. This is the dark side, the other side of my Amazon success story. This is how, just 1 year after making life-changing money, I fucked it up. I took a lot of money, and I lost it all. It's something that I've been keeping quiet until now, and I haven't really been able to tell anyone. But I think now it's time to open up, and I hope that by sharing this, you can learn from my mistake. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Miles, and I share the stories that they won't tell you about making money and living a wealthy and fulfilled life. So let's go back a step. Before I could sell my Amazon business for life-changing money, I have to explain how I got to be in that position in the first place. And that starts with me chasing my number, or lifetime retirement number. I think most of us have one, and if you don't, you probably should. It's the dollar amount that you need invested in low-risk, income-generating assets such that you can have a passive income that you can comfortably live off for the rest of your life. So knowing what your number is helps you to stay on track with your long-term financial goals and do the things that you need to do to get there. So when I was in my 20s, working a job I couldn't wait to get out of, my number was $1 million. I figured you whack that in an index fund, you net something like 4% year on year. That's gonna be 40K per year. You can go backpacking indefinitely in a lot of places for that money, or you could settle down in Southeast Asia or in Latin America and basically live a pretty good life for 40K a year. So while I was working that job that I hated, I always kept that number in the back of my mind. That is until I started my Amazon business and it started to do well, and then really well. And that's when I began to reevaluate my number. Why stop at 40K a year? What if instead of living in Southeast Asia, I wanted to live in Australia? Then that number becomes something more like 100K per year. Pretty reasonable. So doing the same maths, my number then became $3 million. And it stayed there at 3 million as my Amazon business grew year on year, became a 7-figure business in revenues. And then as I actually became a millionaire, mostly through Amazon and partially through my income from this channel, my number still stayed at 3 million. And that is until 2020 came around and things started to get out of control. As we know, 2020 brought a pandemic into the world and pretty much changed everything. Now, most of those changes really sucked, but for me, maybe you, and pretty much anyone who was involved in e-commerce at the time, the pandemic was one of the best things that could have happened. But at first, it didn't seem like that. In that first month of panic, when everything was locking down, our sales dropped practically by 50% overnight. As that's happening, I'm locked in quarantine in Medellin, Colombia. I'm in an Airbnb surrounded by that unsettling silence of streets with no cars in them. And I'm on my laptop, I'm trying to plan cash flow forecasts and working out how long I can hold on to the business and how long I can go without having to let my team go. That's really not an experience that I want to have to repeat. But then very quickly, something weird happens. Sales go right back up to where they were, and then they keep climbing. Just as fast as they've been cut in half, our sales doubled and then doubled again. And from there, it was basically a rocket ship until 2021 when we sold the business. Honestly, there was a lot of luck involved. In general, there's a lot more luck in these success stories than people want you to believe. This is known as survivorship bias. You're only going to hear the stories of the people who made it to the end and are around to tell the tale. In our case, we sold a brand of wine glasses on Amazon, and that was just a really great niche to be a leader in when suddenly everyone's locked down, they can't go out to bars and restaurants to drink. But whatever, whether it was a little bit or a lot of luck, it made me richer than I ever thought that I'd become. Now it's late 2021, I've just sold that Amazon business and I feel fucking rich. I don't know it yet, but that's not gonna last for very long. Remember, it's 2021 and we're in an everything bubble, although I don't realize it at the time. Stocks are pumping, crypto is pumping, and I'm riding that crypto gravy train really hard. And I've been investing in crypto for years, so I thought that I knew what I was doing. And for a while, what I was doing was working really well. Quite quickly, that life-changing Amazon exit goes from being by far the biggest financial milestone in my life up until that point to being, let's say, the second biggest. You remember I had my retirement number, that number that I'd spent years and years working towards and focusing on as the end goal. That was $3 million, and that was the number at which I believed I could stop working, take less risk, chill out a little bit, and basically just live my own life the way I wanted to forever. Well, by this point, I've completely thrown that number out the window. It's gone, completely forgotten. In early 2021, before I sold my Amazon business, my crypto portfolio alone was up by about $5 million. I literally could have cashed out just my crypto at that point and been permanently retired. But I didn't. I didn't cash out because I was greedy and I wanted more. So now we're nearing the end of 2021. That crypto portfolio is now up $10 million or more in profit. I've sold my Amazon business, so you add that exit money on top of that, and I feel like I've ascended to the next level, like a character in a fucking video game or something. And maybe that's true, even if it's only temporary. Now I'm upgrading my lifestyle. I buy a brand new apartment, I buy a car, I'm flying business class around the world, I'm donating to charity, which is good, I guess. I think about generational wealth. So now I'm on Reddit. I'm looking at the subreddit for Decamillionaires, and I'm trying to work out when will I actually become ultra wealthy instead of just wealthy. But nothing really changes when I'm doing all of this. I don't get any happier. Life doesn't get any easier. All of this is just some shit that I'm doing to try and play a role. The role of what I thought a rich person should do. But deep down, I'm still the same frugal guy that I always was. I don't start collecting Rolexes, I start collecting houseplants. And I don't mean the expensive ones, I mean the ones that cost $10, $20. Ideally the ones that I can pick up for free when I'm walking around in the forest. Anyway, it's a good thing that being frugal runs deep in the blood in my veins because everything is about to come crashing down. 2022 rolls around and things start to change. The everything bubble begins to burst. Stocks are falling and crypto begins to implode. And as it does, I'm still very much stuck on that train. You know, that train being driven by Terra, Celsius, FTX. For those few chaotic months in mid-2022, the rest of my life just kind of fades into the background. I'm wired into Twitter and my news feeds just watching the crypto world go up in flames. Companies that I trusted and used are going bankrupt. Close friends are losing money based on recommendations that I gave them. To my own credit, I did try and get the warning out as soon as I realized what a fragile house of cards crypto was. But for a lot of people, it was too late, or I didn't get the message through to them. And as all of this is going down, I'm starting to feel a lot of regret, shame, inadequacy, feeling pretty stupid. Emotionally, this was a tough time for me. I'm also freaking out, trying to protect myself financially. I switched from a mindset of abundance to one of scarcity, and I hate that because I know that good people become worse when they act out of scarcity, but that's what I did. There's something about that fear when you're losing money and you don't know when it's going to stop and your head is not in the right place. It doesn't matter how much you have or how big or small the number. It felt just as bad as when I was in my 20s and poor, or maybe even worse because this time I have this voice inside my head telling me how much more I have to lose. That was my ego talking to me and it was fucking angry. It turns out I'd become super reliant on wearing this identity of being this successful business guy. And now that was being ripped away from me. I'd already been struggling with health problems and now those problems get worse, both physical, emotional, and mental. A lot of weird shit starts to happen at once, and to this day, I don't know how much of it was just coincidence and bad luck, or how much of it was actually related to that forced demolition of my ego. Looking back, this whole ordeal, and with 2020 hindsight, I will say this, FOMO got me really bad. I'd been through previous crypto cycles, so I thought I understood it. I thought I had control, but I was wrong. I don't know if it was something about the numbers being bigger and in the millions instead of the thousands, or maybe just because I didn't have a business that was actually distracting me and taking my attention, but whatever the reason, greed got to me. And when all the dust settled, the $10 million was gone. So that loss has taken a while to process. It's taken a lot of quiet time, a lot of introspection, and also just time to let everything settle down after the craziness of 2022. In the background, I've been switching investments around so that I can sleep better at night. Basically, less risk and just more cash on hand. But mostly, I feel better because I've reset my expectations, reset my ego. Now I feel like I can finally come out of this cocoon that I've been in. I know it's just money, but it feels like I've been through the 5 stages of grief, from depression, and now I'm finally in acceptance. In the end, the key to resetting expectations was to go back to my original retirement number, to remember that lifestyle that I desired so much to have before I got rich. Because now, instead of needing that number to just keep climbing forever so that I can compare myself against the guy who sold his business for 20 million, 50 million, and then 100 million, which is what my ego wants, but not what I want, now I can actually have that lifestyle. I can have it, and I can enjoy it, and anything on top of that is just a bonus to be appreciated. I used to be so focused on getting out of the rat race when I was an employee working in a corporate machine, feeling like a faceless drone. But now I see there are many different rat races, and you can just as easily be in a rat race, even if you are this rich, successful business owner or investor. Ultimately, it's just about living a good life, and living that life as you want it to be, not based on the expectations of others. So while it felt great making multiple 8 figures on the way up, losing half it on the way down exposed all the false assumptions that I was living under about how just having money would somehow make me live a better life. Money is important, but money's only as important as it is helpful in living that good life. And now I feel like I've seen both sides of being rich and having money. I've seen the good and the bad. And I think in some way I had to go through all of this crap to actually appreciate what it means to have a good life. By the way, the mistake I made was the most basic one of all. I had a portfolio that was up by a life-changing amount, and I just never sold. Yeah, I know it was dumb. Number 1, diversify your investments. Number 2, take profits. But hey, I'm not Warren Buffett and you don't need me to tell you that. So while making this video, I was looking through journal entries that I wrote during this whole financial saga that I've been on in the last few years. I found one entry that stood out to me because I think it sums up really well the message that I'm trying to convey. It's from August 2021, the day that I finally sold my Amazon business, and I wanted to share it with you now. Today was a good day. I'm sitting outside the terrace of our rented penthouse in Las Canteras, the beach boulevard in Las Palmas, Canary Islands. Below me, I can hear the rhythmic pulsing of waves hitting the reef. The temperature feels perfect. A few interesting things happened today. Number one, I received a wire transfer for $7 million. There's some more to come, but as of today, my bank account has more money in it than I ever thought I would see in my life. I'm feeling really good about everything right now. I'm happy, and as I sit here, I'm smiling to myself. But I'm not smiling because of my bank account. I'm smiling because that doesn't even matter. It didn't even make it as the highlight of the day. The reason why I'm happy and I'm sitting here by myself in this penthouse terrace late at night smiling and writing about it is because I'm staying here with a friend, and earlier today we got in our little rental car and we drove up the mountains and we hiked in the pine forest on the side of a volcano. The sky was blue, the air was clean, and it was a lovely day. So as I'm sitting here now feeling the cool night air on my skin and I'm weighing up the significance on one hand of the mind-boggling amount of money that is currently sitting in my bank account, and on the other hand, the memory of a day well spent with a good friend by my side, I know which of these things really makes me rich, and that's a good enough reason to smile. So that's it. I hope you can appreciate this lesson that I had to learn the hard way. Work hard, go for what you want, build wealth, make money, but also appreciate what you have right in front of you right now. And don't sacrifice all of those good things in the quest for making more money, because one day you might wake up and the money might not be there anymore. I hope that my story helps you to not have to go through all of that shit to learn that lesson. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you soon.